If you're blue and you don't know where to go to, why don't you go where fashion fits? Haunted Phosphorescence! Hello, everyone. This is your host, Thoreau Smiley. Would you like a roll and say hey? It is fun! Who's with me this week?
I'm Josh Cece, and for safety's sake, don't humiliate me.
I'm just a brain in a jar labeled Brian Lesh.
And I'm Alaric Weber, a cultured, sophisticated man about town.
And this is Haunted Phosphorescence. It is your weekly spooky podcast. We'll be returning to our normal broadcasting come November, but for October, instead of superhero movies, we are doing a deep dive and breaking down the production and history of spooky movies. And this show is brought to you by executive producers Michael Beckwith and Atticus Burkett.
Isn't it Atticus Bouquet?
Bouquet, yes. And Michael...
That's for you, attaboy.
You can be a patron too. Just head over to patreon.com/harmless entertainment. We got lots of bonus content there. We got Star Wars shows. We've got other holiday shows. And starting this week, we are going to be having some Simpsons episodes where we go into a new Simpsons episode every week. There's a few of those. We could do. Have no fear. There'll be stories for years. But this week on Haunted Phosphorescence, we are going to be watching Young Frankenstein.
It's coming from the deep, dark recesses of the mind of Mel Brooks. I love him. Young Frankenstein.
Sky means business.
Young Frankenstein.
Oh dear, nothing left. What shall we throw in now?
Starring Gene Wilder as Dr. Frankenstein.
That's Frankenstein.
But what about your grandfather's work, sir? My grandfather's work was doo-doo!
Peter Boyle as the monster. Marty Feldman as Igor.
My grandfather used to work for your grandfather.
I'm sure we'll get along splendidly. Oh, sorry.
Cloris Leachman as Frau Blutler.
You played that music in the middle of the night?
Yes!
To get us into the laboratory?
Yes!
And it was you who left my grandfather's book out for me to find?
Yes!
So that I would?
Yes!
Then you and Victor were?
Say it. He was my boyfriend!
Terry Garr as Inga.
Would you like to have a roll in the hay?
Roll in the hay.
Kenneth Mars as the inspector. And Madeline Kahn as Elizabeth.
Where am I?
Calm down.
What are you going to do to me?
I'm not afraid of you. Listen, I have to be back by 11:30. I'm expecting a very important call.
Kill the monster! Storm their castle! And
See Mel Brooks' Young Frankenstein.
Yes, I think we could all use a good laugh.
But don't see it alone. Don't miss Young Frankenstein, personally directed by Mel Blazing Saddles Brooks, in black and white. No offense.
No offense.
Well, they fought him so hard. I mean, that's how dumb executives are. They fought him. They didn't want it in black and white.
Right. Yeah. It's like, how do you make a Frankenstein movie not in black and white? Come on.
I mean, shit. Yeah. So good for him sticking to his guns.
Yeah, absolutely.
He is Mel Blazing Saddles Brooks.
Oh yeah,
Right.
yeah, he is.
I think they tried to trick him too. Like, we'll film it on color stock and we'll
right.
turn it black and white or something like that.
Or shoot with both. Something.
I was reading about this because in Peru they just released film in color, so we want to be able to release it in Peru in color.
Oh my God!
And he told them, "No, fuck you. You're going to try and trick me."
Yep.
Did this for Peru
and said he wanted on thick film, black and white, like the classic black and white film.
Yeah, so because it does, like, there's so many films that are like supposed to be like older movies that you can tell they just like do a filter and like desaturate it, but this 100% just looks like a film from the 30s.
And it's gorgeous. It's so gorgeous, which might as well say it now. He always gets credit for obviously being a comic and comedic mind, but he doesn't really get enough credit for being the genre director that he is.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost Tarantino level. Like, when he takes a genre silent movie, history of the world, and it's seamlessly created.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. I never even thought to make that comparison, but it is similar to Tarantino. And Tarantino may have been inspired by Mel Brooks' approach to like, I'm just going to make another movie in a totally different style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That very much. Yeah. I never would have thought of that, but you're spot on. Definitely.
Robin Hood Men in Tights.
That's where it was.
I think that was.
I don't know. It was classic parody of that time. It was like a perfect.
You're right.
Genre movie.
It really was.
And musicals. Well, right. He had songs and stuff, but there were songs. Yeah. And the way they looked.
Spaceballs. I mean.
And that was pretty wacky. He strayed from strict genre, but he just nails it.
Yeah, he does.
This looks like it was also made by James Whale.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who directed the first two Frankenstein.
Absolutely. This movie was released December 15th, 1974. It was a Christmas movie. It has a running time of 105 minutes. It cost $2.78 million. And it took in $86 million at the box office. It was a huge, huge hit.
It changed pop culture.
Yeah.
The Walk This Way joke is what inspired the Aerosmith song.
Yeah.
Taffeta Darling. It was was the name of one of one of Andy Warhol's, one of the factory, either cross-dressers or women, but yeah.
Just the way Gene Wilder says, Taffeta Darling. It has no idea what she's talking about, but just agreeing with her. This movie was a big hit, and I think it's time we discuss that in the Box Office Top 10 game.
What?
So this is the game where normally we would look at the week that the film was released and count down the top 10 movies of the week, but 1974 we don't have weekly numbers for, so we're going to be looking at the top 10 movies of the entire year of 1974 and counting them down. I will describe the films using only the normally it would be the Box Office Mojo descriptions. This week it's going to be the IMDb descriptions. They're the same descriptions. Box Office Mojo is owned by IMDb. So are you guys ready to play the Box Office Top 10 game?
And how?
I'm easy.
All right, here we go. Coming. Oh, and by the way, Young Frankenstein is in the Box Office Top 10. At 86 million in 74, of course it would be. Coming in at number 10. Let's see. In December 1935, when his transcontinental luxury train is stranded in deep snow, a detective is called upon to solve a murder.
Is it Murder on the Orient Express?
It is. The one and only Murder on the Orient Express.
But the one with Albert Finney.
Albert Finney as Poirot, yeah.
Not Johnny Depp? Okay.
Not Johnny Depp, no.
He did play him.
Yeah. Oh, he did. He did. Johnny Depp loves to play characters, doesn't he?
More than plumbing, I would venture.
I'd imagine so. Seeing as he is a professional actor, I'd imagine he would do that.
So I fucking hate this. Wish I could clean toilets.
Coming in at number 9, a sadistic warden asks a former pro quarterback serving time in his prison to put together a team of inmates to take on the guards.
We've actually, longest yard.
Yep. We talked about the Adam Sandler one a number of times.
Burt Reynolds.
Yeah, Burt Reynolds. This is a much better movie than the Adam Sandler Longest Yard, by a long shot. By a long yard, yeah. Coming in at number 8. After fleeing into the mountains, after he's wrongly accused of murder, a woodsman discovers an uncanny bond to the indigenous wildlife of the region.
Dr. Doolittle? Dr. Don't Little.
Let's see, it became a television show.
Grizzly Adams?
Yes, but the actual title is The Life and Times of Grizzly Adams.
The Life and Times. He started in vaudeville.
Yeah.
I did not know that he was wrongly accused of murder.
Yes.
I didn't realize that was it. Yeah. And Gentle Ben.
Yeah, Ben.
I had an original Grizzly Adams wastebasket until just about like a year ago.
It was actually the one-armed bear that killed his wife.
You wanted Provasic for yourself.
It's like, I didn't kill my wife.
But I did kill the deputy.
Yeah, because the bear is playing the Tommy Lee Jones part. Anyways, okay.
Bears get all the sweetest parts.
Coming in at number 7. A 747 in flight collides with a small plane and is rendered pilotless. Like, that's the worst thing. All right. After colliding. All right. Somehow, the control tower must get a pilot aboard so the jet can land.
I think this is just called Airport, right?
No.
Okay. That's what Airplane was based on.
Yes. This is the sequel. Airport 75. The original Airport came out 2 years earlier.
It wasn't a sequel. You were just rerouted to that movie without any heads up.
That was the disaster movies, the 70s disaster movie trend.
Poseidon, yeah. That's Earthquake, Inferno.
I remember as a kid them showing Airport. I can't remember which one. It was one of them on TV, and the ad for it made it look like it was an airplane style movie. And as like an 8-year-old, I thought it was. And I was like, oh, I want to watch that. And like 10 minutes in, I was like, what the fuck is this?
They're taking this seriously?
Yeah.
Surely.
Coming in at number 6. Yeah, number 6. Okay. The early life and career of a gangster in 1920s New York City is portrayed while his son expands and tightens his grip on the family crime syndicate.
Godfather 2.
Part 2. Yes.
The best one.
Absolutely. Which...
Yeah, that's not my opinion. It's universally.
Yeah. It's funny, the franchises where the second one's the best. We got Godfather, Star Wars, Spider-Man, the Raimi trilogy. God, what others?
I like Ultron. I know that's up for debate, but I really like Ultron.
I don't feel like it's the best of the Avengers movies. I like it. I think it's underrated, but I don't consider it the best. It's questionable. Aliens.
Star Trek.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Star Trek. Wrath of Khan.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Aliens, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a funny thing. So, all right, coming in at number...
Oh, don't forget Any Which Way But Loose.
Yeah, Every Which Way You Can is clearly better than Any Which Way You Can.
Expanded the universe.
Well, and I would hazard to say Airbuds 2 is universally considered the best Airbuds.
Once we got to know him.
Coming in at number 5. Various interconnected people struggle to survive when an earthquake of unimaginable magnitude hits Los Angeles.
Earthquake?
Yes, it's just Earthquake. Yep. 1974's box office is crazy. Wow. Okay. And coming in at number 4. An American grandson of an infamous scientist struggles to prove that his grandfather was not as insane as people believe.
Young Frankenstein.
Young Frankenstein is number 4. It did better than The Godfather Part 2.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's crazy how big this movie was. Yeah. Number 3. Okay. What's crazy? Okay. Number 3 is okay. After being sentenced to 4 years in prison for the involuntary manslaughter.
Who volunteers for manslaughter?
Right. Voluntary manslaughter.
I was drafted into manslaughter.
So of the first film of this series, a freedom school expands and flourishes under his guidance.
Billy Jack? Part 2?
Yes, which is called The Trial of Billy Jack.
Okay.
I
loved the Billy Jack movies.
Yeah, yo, those are crazy. Those are crazy movies.
Yeah, they are.
I don't think I've heard of them.
Oh, wow. Oh. That's like that. That
kind of like Chuck. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Josh.
Kind of like Chuck Norris, but with more of a social moral compass kind of thing. A white guy kicking everybody's ass in the name of good.
In the name of Native Americans. It was that weird thing where they thought in the 70s like giving indigenous peoples a white savior was being progressive.
Right. And didn't what's its name happen around this time? No, not Ruby Ridge.
Oh, the
standoff.
Wounded Knee.
Yes. All right.
Yeah, that was rough. 70s. The 70s were the 70s. Number 2 in a box office top 10 game. At the opening party of a colossal but poorly constructed office building, a massive fire breaks out.
Towering Inferno.
The Towering Inferno was the number 2.
All the disaster movies were that year.
Yeah, 74. Everything but Poseidon Adventure, basically. Yeah. And the number 1 movie of the year. In order to ruin a town, a corrupt politician appoints a new sheriff who promptly becomes his most formidable adversary.
Wow, they came out the same year?
And it was...
Blazing Saddles.
Blazing Saddles was the number 1 movie of the year, and Young Frankenstein was the 4th biggest movie of the year. Yeah.
Yep.
This was 74?
74 was quite a year for Mel Brooks. This Blazing Saddles came out in January, and Young Frankenstein came out in December.
Holy fuck. You're not even over the high of Blazing Saddles because that movie,
it was the biggest movie of the year,
blew everyone's mind.
Which puts the whole Mel Brooks saying Mel Blazing Saddles Brooks in context. It was the biggest movie of the year in the year he was doing that, making that trailer.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
You can take that to the money bank.
Yes, you can. So, all right, that brings us to, that is the end of the box office top 10 game. It brings us to the comic book history, Al.
Well, Frankenstein's been in many a comic.
Yeah.
Yes, this was created by Mary Shelley.
No, say her full name.
I can't remember.
Wollstonecraft.
Wollstonecraft.
For Marvel Comics.
In 1843.
Her friend Lord Byron got her in the door. Yeah. Stanley.
1818. Wow. Yeah. And the full name of the original Frankenstein book is not simply Frankenstein. It's Frankenstein, or, the modern Prometheus.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's so much punctuation in that title.
Do you know that she that was a dare or like a contest that she and Lord Byron and Shelley, the poet, like who could write the best horror story?
Yeah. And what was it? Lord Byron wrote. What was it he wrote?
I don't know. It was something real. It was about a specter, but something flowery.
It was considered the first Gothic novel.
Yes. And in fact, the butler of Lord Byron, who was at the party this weekend that they held, it was basically a party. He submitted an idea about a vampire, and somebody relayed that to their friend Bram Stoker and so forth. It was a good weekend up at Lord Byron's house. It was like a Charlie Sheen weekend.
A lot of
stuff happened.
A lot of black mascara. They were listening to The Cure.
Yeah, totally.
Bauhaus. Anyways, okay. Young Frankenstein, written and directed by Mel Brooks. Also with screenplay credit given to Gene Wilder. So Mel Brooks and Gene Wilder wrote it together, directed by Mel Brooks. Mel Brooks, of course, is, Mel Brooks. He got to start on Show of Shows he was
Sid Caesar.
Sid Caesar's Show of Shows. He was a writer along with Woody Allen and Neil Simon on that. Let's see. That's where he created the 2,000-Year-Old Man sketch.
Yeah, so Carl Reiner was in the room.
Carl Reiner, yes.
Larry Gellhart, who went on to create the MASH TV show and write most of that.
Yes. And then he and Buck Henry wrote and ran Get Smart for 5 years, 65 to 70. After that, he, during that period, he made The Producers. That was 67. The 12 Chairs, which is one I've never seen.
It's interesting. It's like a Fellini take.
Okay.
Like the Euro New Wave kind
of. And then his next film after The 12 Chairs was Blazing Saddles, which, as we've seen, was a big hit.
Co-written with Richard Pryor.
Yes.
And this co-written with Gene Wilder.
Yeah. And, of course, Richard Pryor was supposed to play the
Black
Bart, but was unable to.
And everyone, including himself, believes Cleavon Little killed it. Richard said he could not have done a good job as he did.
Yeah, Cleavon Little was amazing in that. But then afterwards, of course, went on to have quite a run. Silent movie, High Anxiety, History of the World, Spaceballs, Robin Hood Men in Tights. We mentioned those already. Brooks is an EGOT. Brooks has his EGOT. He's one of the few.
I mean, he's got the Kennedy Center honors. He's gotten the Medal of Freedom. Like, they've thrown every award you can throw, and deservedly.
Yeah, absolutely. Gene Wilder, with writing credit, of course, and starring as Friedrich von Frankenstein, was let's see.
I just realized that EGOT is short for egotistical.
Yada boom.
I like that.
Yeah. Let's see. Gene Wilder's from Milwaukee, which I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. He got his start. He studied theater in England. He was started off as a dramatic actor. He was part of the Stanislavski system, which, of course, famously was studied by Marlon Brando and that.
Yeah, it's part of the method. Yeah, Lee Strasberg and Stella Adler.
Exactly.
So all the way up to like De Niro. And
it's method acting, right? It's like you have to like embody the character that you're playing at all times.
Yeah, exactly. You don't leave the character. You are the character while you're on set.
You cannot do a good performance if any element of yourself is up there.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you didn't have mental health issues? Well, you do now. Like
Richard Burton and Liz Taylor.
Yeah.
Like, that movie was fun.
Which is,
That's my takeaway from the Stanislavski method. Anytime I hear somebody talk about it, I'm like, oh, that's incredibly dangerous for a person to do.
Yeah, it really is. That Streetcar Named Desire is a messed up movie for a number of reasons outside of the text. Yeah. So of course Gene Wilder, he did a lot of stage, he did a lot of TV work. He was one of his most famous ones in the TV work was he did the CBS's presentation of Death of a Salesman. His big breakout role on film was in Bonnie and Clyde. And then his big breakout starring role was in The Producers, which of course was Mel Brooks.
And he's brilliant in that.
Yeah.
I know it's stupid. Goes without saying, but
absolutely.
Yes, so good.
Yeah. And of course, later on he would, of course, go to be in Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein. He was played Willy Wonka in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, which was amazing. Lady in Red. He was in a bunch of the films with Richard Pryor.
Which I think that's his only rival comic timing wise.
Yeah.
And it's great that they got together.
From that era, definitely. Stir Crazy was great.
Filmed here in Tucson.
Yes. Yeah. That was great. There was a period of time when I thought seeing something like Stir Crazy redone with Donald Glover and Chris what's his face from Guardians would have been great, but I'm kind of off him. Anyways,
he's lost his sense of humor.
Yeah, absolutely. But he of course married Gilda Radner, and that was all very sad.
Has anyone seen a movie called The Adventure of Sherlock Holmes' Smarter Brother?
Yes. I remember that. I remember that. I watched it as a child. I have not seen it since.
I have had so much trouble trying to find that movie. But it was so Gene Wilder as the brother of Sherlock Holmes, Sigerson Holmes, Madeline Kahn, Marty Feldman.
Wow.
As Orville Sacker, Dom DeLuise. Those are the big notables. I remember it being hilarious, but I can't prove it because I can't find it.
So there's an intensity to Gene Wilder. There's this low-key undercurrent of terror.
Yeah.
Like he can make you feel scared and uncomfortable.
He's
such a gentle guy.
He's a little menacing. There's something in his eyes where it's he's a sweet, gentle guy, but also a little bit menacing.
Willy Wonka, absolutely for sure. But even in this, he seems dangerous at times.
Yeah, absolutely. So as the creature, we've got Peter Boyle. He's great. Let's see. He was in Taxi Driver, of course. Probably younger people know him best as from Everyone Loves Raymond.
Everybody, and we do.
Yeah.
He's brilliant.
Yeah. He turned down the lead role for The French Connection. Peter Boyle.
Which Gene Hackman picked up.
Yeah, that's insane. Let's see. He was in The Candidate, the 1972 movie with Robert Redford. Where the Buffalo Roam.
Yeah, Gonzo.
Yeah, absolutely. That was great. Oh my God, Yellowbeard.
Oh my God, Yellowbeard.
Love that movie.
Yes. Oh, Outland, the Sean Connery movie. Oh my!
Is that the red monokini one?
No. Yeah. That's Zardoz. No.
Zardoz.
That's Zardoz. Which, woo boy. He was. The Dream Team with Michael Keaton. While you were sleeping, he was in the Eddie Murphy Dr. Dolittle. And he played Old Man Wickles in Scooby-Doo 2: Monsters Unleashed.
Oh yeah.
Marty Feldman as Igor, or possibly Igor. He got his start. He's English, of course. He passed away in 1982. I forgot about that he passed so early.
Just like Sellers, he was gone too quickly.
Yeah, so much so. He got his start on Bootsy and Snudge on the BBC radio. That's the most British thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, and that was a news program.
Let's see. He was in At Last, the 1948 show, which is another very British.
Yeah, At Last. We've been waiting years for this year.
He had his own show on the BBC, the Marty Feldman Comedy Machine.
It's a hard machine to maintain, like the Miami Sound Machine.
So yeah, he did a lot of radio and TV work in the in Britain in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Then the At Last, the 1948 show, he was on there with Graham Chapman and John Cleese.
Mm-hmm.
He did have a connection to them. And then, of course, this is his first time working with Mel Brooks. He would go on to be in the silent movie. Oh my gosh. You remember the last remake of Beau Geste?
Oh, yeah, I do actually.
Yeah, I remember watching that a few times.
It's been years.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, he was gone too short. I remember him being on The Muppet Show.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see. He didn't have a whole lot.
He's in Yellowbeard as well, right?
Is he? I think so, yeah. I don't know. Let me see.
Anyway.
But yeah.
I think that was the movie that killed him.
Oh no. He died during the making of Yellowbeard. Yeah. He had a heart attack. So yeah, way too early. It doesn't seem like an especially unhealthy guy either. A heart attack at that young age. Cloris Leachman as Frau Blucher.
Okay, so the thing I learned today for the first time, does anybody know why the horses do that?
No, why?
Blucher is glue in German.
Oh my God. I had no idea.
The horses speak German and they think that's what she's threatening them with.
That's hilarious.
And it always was hilarious.
Oh
that's what's brilliant.
Wow. Yeah. Cloris Leachman. It was hilarious before I knew that. So yeah.
Yeah.
Cloris Leachman, she passed away January 27th of this year. She was with us until 2021. Jude knows her best as the grandma from Raising Hope.
And so funny on that, actually.
Yeah, she was great on that. She's great in everything she's ever done. She was a national treasure. She was one of her big breaks. She was in The Last Picture Show, which was like one of the few serious roles I've ever seen her in.
Mm-hmm.
She did a number of things with Mel Brooks. She was in History of the World Part 1 also.
High Anxiety, right?
High Anxiety, yeah.
Crazy nurse.
She was in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. She played the grandma in Malcolm in the Middle too.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, she got
Beer
her
Fest, right?
What's that?
Beer Fest.
Oh yeah, yeah. Definitely. She got her start doing stage work. And let's see. Yeah, she was in Crucible on Broadway. A lot of stage work, and then just started doing some TV stuff. She was on Rawhide. She was on the Mary Tyler
Moore Show, right?
Yeah, Mary Tyler Moore Show.
She was good on that.
Terry Garr as Inga.
Sweet Terry Garr.
Yeah. So yeah, I feel like she didn't get enough work at post 70s. But yeah, she was, she herself, she was in a Star Trek episode. That was kind of her big break as an actress, the Assignment Earth one. She got her, let's see, she was in The Conversation, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. She played the wife who has to put up with Richard Dreyfuss.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, Mr. Mom. Remember After Hours, the Scorsese 85 movie, one of his lesser known films. She was in The Player. She was in Ghost World. I forgot about that. And she played. Yeah,
she was.
She was Phoebe's mom in a few episodes of Friends. She was smoking in the 70s.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Comics Connection. She did some voice work as Mary McGinnis in Batman Beyond. I think that was the lead character's mother.
Yeah.
But she did a bunch of voice work. King of the Hill, Scooby-Doo, something.
Kenneth Mars as Inspector. As Inspector, what was his name? Inspector, not Clue.
Oh yeah,
Kemp.
Yeah,
Kemp. Inspector Kemp. He got his start. He was in The Producers as well. He was in some Bogdanovich's movies. He was in What's Up, Doc? Did some Woody Allen stuff, Radio Days, Shadows and Fog. He's a character actor for the most part. And Madeline Kahn, of course. The great Madeline Kahn. She passed away in 1999. Wow, she was pretty young too. She was also in What's Up, Doc? She did a bunch of Mel Brooks stuff. She was in High Anxiety, of course, Blazing Saddles. Would you like another Braunschweiger?
No, 16's my limit on the Schnitzengruben.
And of course, Clue. One of my favorite roles of hers. Flames on the side of my face.
She was always fantastic when she was on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, she was.
Back in the day.
She was in Nixon. I forgot about that.
Oh yeah, John Mitchell's wife.
Yeah.
Do you know in real life, like during the hearings, they locked her in a hotel room so she couldn't get out and testify about Watergate and everything?
Oh my God.
Because Mitchell was his lawyer, so she knew everything.
Jeez. She was
and did we mention Yellowbeard? Also Yellowbeard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She got her start on Broadway. She was a chorus girl originally in the early 60s. Yeah. So that rounds out our cast, our production there. Let's see. So this movie, apparently Gene Wilder came up with the idea on the set of Blazing Saddles. And apparently, Mel Brooks says that he and Gene Wilder locked themselves into a room of the Beverly Hills Hotel with a pot of Earl Grey and wrote the movie over the course of a long weekend.
A single pot of Earl Grey?
I imagine they kept getting more pots of Earl Grey.
It's stage full for 8 days and nights.
Yes. It is, of course, a parody of the classic horror films from the classic Frankenstein films, specifically of the 1930s. In fact, they even reference the fact there were 5 of them made. And they and if you look at the villagers talking in reference to those movies, it makes a lot more sense. They're like, listen, there's been 5 Frankensteins that have come here and fucked up this village.
Yeah.
The gear that they use in the laboratory is from the original Frankenstein movies.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's another franchise that I think the sequel was best. Bride of Frankenstein. That's where a lot of the well-known Frankenstein tropes are from.
Yeah.
And they nod to that, obviously.
Yeah, they do.
There was a special thanks in the credits to, it was Kenneth Strickfaden for the original Frankenstein lab equipment. I think I read that he didn't get paid for the Frankenstein movies.
Yeah, he was uncredited in each one.
Oh, uncredited. Okay, he's paid, but uncredited. So Mel Brooks rented that equipment from him.
Good for him.
So this movie actually predates Siskel and Ebert. So there is no Siskel and Ebert for it. But Roger Ebert gave it 4 stars out of 4. Gene Siskel gave it 3 stars out of 4.
The hardest man to please ever.
Oh, God, Gene Siskel. That motherfucker. It has 94% on Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah, that's about it for the production reviews. Guys, are you ready?
We're going to have to hunt down that 6%.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's time for a riot.
Did Roger say, or not Roger, but Gene say what he didn't like about it?
I'm sure he did. I didn't actually read his review.
Yeah. It's not important. But I'm just curious.
No. I did see he said it wasn't as funny as Blazing Saddles.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like, all right.
Yeah. Holy shit, man.
So you're saying that, like, you know, Beethoven's like 10th symphony isn't as good as his 9th? Like,
yeah.
Right?
Apple,
like,
orange.
I prefer the book of Mark over the book of Luke. I don't know, man.
Yeah. So, you guys ready to jump into the movie itself?
It might be dangerous. You go first.
Let me move my hump really quick.
Walk this way.
I'm a very large mute.
Here we go. This is Young Frankenstein. We open with a title sequence over a card of the Frankenstein castle. There's a light on over the Frankenstein's castle. There's a coffin with Baron von Frankenstein in it. It's opened, and a man takes a box from the corpse's hands.
That body has been decomposing for a while.
That's
right.
Okay.
The
Yeah,
box has been there.
that was one
He's
of my
not freshly dead.
That was one of my unanswered questions. How long has that coffin been sitting in the castle?
Yeah, and it's his will, so why not take it out when he died? Why not put it? Why not put it in there?
It's the will. Why is it in the coffin?
It turns out that was great grandfather Beaufort von Frankenstein.
Oh, but
which the guy mentions when he meets Dr. Frankenstein.
Okay.
Excellent.
So, we cut to a college lecture. Dr. Frederick Frankenstein.
Is it 1974 for them?
It does.
I know Transylvania's, Eastern Bloc, so it's still a little off the times.
I don't think so. I don't know.
think the train and the lab in New York, or his lesson where he's what do you call that? A studio where you're teaching in like a theatrical
a theater, actually.
Yeah. It looks like it's 40s, maybe
30s or 40s.
Okay, well then in the
30s.
in the front row of that class is an Asian guy with like 70s long hair and a 70s mustache.
Yeah.
He looks like Ben Torres from Rolling Stone.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And an African-American male with an afro.
Yes.
Those guys were not allowed in class.
No,
And
not
there was-
in the 30s.
There was an African-American female with a head wrap.
Oh.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So
very 70s extras.
Pretty inclusive classroom.
Yeah, for the 30s, that's very progressive.
Still a lot of white guys, but
Well, sure.
Well, it's Mel Brooks, He made great leaps in putting people into movies that
I would just
would
like
have
to
otherwise not been.
Yeah, I would just like to shout out Mel Brooks for not doing anything to get himself canceled after 60 years, 70 years in the business.
Yeah, he's 90s.
Yeah, go Mel Brooks.
No, he was married to Anne. Well, he's married once when he's younger, but then Anne Bancroft till she passed away.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and now doesn't like he and Rob Reiner, they just like
Carl died recently.
Carl Reiner.
They used to meet every Friday for dinner and watching a movie.
Yeah.
And what's great is they're just total old guys still, even though they're in show business. One of them would pick up random DVDs at the big bins at Walmart. Like they admitted they had never seen Dances with Wolves before. Like
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Was that in Mel's birthday special?
It was in actually Comedians in Cars.
That's right. Comedians in Cars and Coffee. They go to Carl's house.
Right, because they're having lunch and he tells them that he still meets with Carl every week and they have dinner and watch a movie. And Jerry's like, "Are you kidding me?" And he's like, "You want to come? Just come." And then, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was incredible.
TV trays. It's a little fucking kitchenette takeout.
That's awesome.
So great. They were best friends.
So yeah. All right. Dr. Frederick Frankenstein is talking about his grandfather's work. He thinks his grandfather was a kook and a fraud. He loudly denounces his work, accidentally stabbing himself with a scalpel.
Yeah, he stabbed himself into like a pad. There was like a spot. He actually stabbed the scalpel into like a, prosthetic pad to stab.
Such a great moment.
The medical student.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, so I watched it on Amazon, and it said starring Marty Feldman, Danny Goldman, and then some other name. The other name was actually the old guy that was doing the demonstration. So it didn't mention Gene Wilder or Madeline Kahn or Peter Boyle. But so the medical student, the really obnoxious kid, actor is Danny Goldman. He is best known as from MASH. He was Captain Merhart. And even better known, he was the voice of Brainy Smurf from 1981 to 1989.
Oh, I was going to say he did voice acting.
That makes a lot of sense.
And the old man in the demo, he's the Undertaker from Blazing Saddles.
Oh,
yeah. Where he's like, "You're on your own."
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. I never put that together, but I can totally see it.
But what I love is that why the insult? Like I know the sudden jerking movement to his crotch, but just like, you mother grabbing bastard.
You filthy, rotten, yellow son of a bitch.
It's like, then it's not involuntary. He can tell by your tirade something's coming.
Right. So, all right. The lecture ends. The man that took the box from the corpse in the first scene approaches Frederick to tell him he has his grandfather's will. We cut to a train station. Frederick is on his way to Transylvania. He says goodbye to his fiancée Elizabeth and boards the train. Taffeta, darling?
Not the hair. No tongues.
No tongues is later. But
that's later. That's right.
Not on the lips.
Yeah.
So is this like a Toxie thing that he took the train from Transylvania?
I think so.
Well, that was another question I had.
I thought this was neat because you get the train, next stop New York, then you get the spin.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
He's now on another train. The same conversation is happening in German behind him.
And the conversation's hilarious. And it's about their son jerking off too much.
Yes.
Yeah. But it's the exact same conversation in German, like word for word.
Universal.
But yeah, I assumed that the twist was they didn't want to show him on a transatlantic flight. You know?
Yeah.
Well, I assumed also then you can assume the joke is that he did take the train the entire way.
I love that.
People just started speaking German halfway across the Atlantic.
Well, he had to switch. He had to change trains, and at some point it was German.
Atlantis. I love the porter for the last time comes out, and he's like, "All aboard!" She goes, "There's that horrid man again."
And she can't even get out "I love you" or anything. She's like,
"Yeah,
you've got it, mister."
And they elbows.
Yeah.
You bet your boot. Yeah, the COVID handshake, man.
Yeah. Bet your boots, I do.
Yeah. So he arrives in Transylvania, where he's met at the train station by his new servant, the hunchback Igor. Or Igor.
The boy, the shoeshine boy, that's a reference to a song that was really popular in 1974.
Yeah. Pennsylvania 65000.
Yeah. Which I had no idea. I wasn't aware of it, but I saw that and I was like, oh, that makes a lot more sense.
Which is why that movie Transylvania 65000 is named Transylvania 65000.
Yeah, the one with with Goldblum and Bagley.
Yeah. So they board a wagon, meet his new laboratory assistant Inga, and make their way to the castle. Their castle. They're wolves.
Yep, one of the best jokes. I thought you wanted us to.
I love Marty Feldman's like your friend, like Dr. Frankenstein. It's Frankenstein, actually. You're kidding me.
Yeah,
you put me on.
Is
it Frodrick? Like,
is it Frodrick?
Why
Frodrick. Well, and I don't think his name is Igor. His name is Igor.
Yeah.
But he's just like, you could call me Igor, and that's like sticks the whole movie.
He's like, no, it's Igor. Oh, I heard it was Igor. Well, you heard wrong then, didn't you?
Yeah. No, because he's just
pulling the same shit.
Yeah, he's just giving him shit about it, but it's
Flex right back at Flex.
Yeah. So they arrive at the castle. They're met by Frau Blucher.
It's all about the timing.
You got to have that ready, Al, every second.
Got you slipping.
Nice knockers. Yeah. Or what knockers?
What knockers?
Man.
Oh, thank you. Yes. She shows them to their rooms. Frederick asks Frau Blucher. Al's death stare.
Fuck you now.
Frederick asks Frau Blucher about his grandfather's private library.
Oh God. Yeah.
But
so when they show up at the gates, like pretty nice knockers joke, or what knockers joke, he introduces her as my assistant.
Yeah.
So I was reading this movie before it got edited down was twice the length.
Oh,
the
wow.
runtime was over 3 hours because this is what, hour 45?
Yeah.
The musical is about what, 2.5, 3 hours long.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many things that just don't work in a comedy, like in a film that they cut out that probably made the musical. But I think that whole sequence of them writing in was a lot longer because they get to know each other.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Intimately. But yeah, the way that he introduces her, I thought this was really interesting. I was like, oh, huh. And then I read that the runtime got trimmed way down. And this was probably one of those things that, landed on the cutting room floor or whatever.
Yeah. Huh.
That makes sense.
I don't know how many of those horse whinnies came through. I looked up and I was muted.
None.
Yeah, we got no whinnies.
That's not fun.
Technical difficulties.
We're going to turn you into glue, Al.
And I saw a pale horse, and upon him sat Death.
Blucher.
And her name was Frau Blucher.
Screaming horses.
So that night, while having a bad dream, Frederick is awakened by Inga, who was roused by a violin playing a melancholy melody. They search for its source and find a hidden passage. This was one of my favorite. As a kid, this was one of my favorite sequences. The whole put the candle back.
Okay, listen to me very carefully. Do not put the candle back.
Yeah, like Will Ferrell and Austin
with all of your might. Shove.
Anyway.
And then they go down. I think it's Marty Feldman, but touches the violin. He's like, "It's still warm."
It's still warm. That's one of my favorite jokes in the whole movie, man.
They find the secret passage. They enter, make their way into the bowels of the castle. They find Igor along the way. They discover
I ain't got nobody. That was one of my favorite jokes.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
The recently deceased.
Yeah.
He's got his head on the block. Yeah.
But again, how recently, because he inherited this and his grandfather's apparently been dead a while. So they enter his lab and his library. The music stopped. They read his grandfather's journal about how he created his creature, and Frederick decides that he could follow in his grandfather's footsteps. Footsteps. The next morning at breakfast, he, Inga, and Igor discuss that they'll have to make the creature he creates very large.
It's Igor.
Igor. He would have an enormous Wunschwagen. Well, that goes without saying.
Woof.
He'll be very popular.
Cut to a very large criminal being hung, then buried. Frederick and Igor watch them dig him up and take the casket, having to trick a constable along the way.
You guys are always bitching about coincidences in movies. It's highly coincidental that They just happen to hang a 7-foot criminal.
Well, yes.
Yeah, matches everything they need.
The night that they need it.
It's a little more
And
forgivable.
everyone has like a German accent or something, but the guy who's overseeing the gravediggers is clearly British.
There's a few people that are just British for some reason. Yes. Well, Igor is just British.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, also, yeah, I mean, coincidences are a little more forgivable in comedies because, you know.
I know.
Yeah, there's a lot in this movie that on closer inspection needs to be forgiven. You know?
But yeah, that's not the point of the film. It's like, you know, in a drama, you want things to make sense. In Young Frankenstein, I don't care.
Destiny.
Destiny. No escaping.
No escaping that for me.
Destiny.
Yeah, so
what reading is this? What is this dream he's having? So all right, they get the body back to the and I always love like could be worse, could be raining. I still say that all the time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What's the name of the
cold
book?
handshake too?
Yeah, the handshake.
What's the name of What's the name of the book you said, Josh?
Yeah, where his grandfather's book?
How I Did It.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How I Did It. Wait, what's
How I Did It.
No, it's If I Did It.
Yeah, I was going to say, isn't that OJ's book?
It's the same. It's slightly different. Maybe he was trying to avoid, copyright issues.
So the wagon cart scene, just oh my god!
Oh,
he slaps it together and rubs them.
Yeah,
the two taps. I love that. Just the two taps are the same, but Marty knows the first time to shake hands, and then the next time he just knows to salute.
So yeah, they get the body back to the lab. Frederick sends Igor to get the brain of a genius. So that what is the name of the brain?
Hans Delbruck.
That's a real person.
Scientist and saint.
Yeah, that's a real person actually. I only found that out today. He was a historian. Like a German historian and scientist, I believe.
Cool.
There was a third brain on the shelf. Not to jump too far ahead. The name was Charles Opie, and it says missionary. Okay. Charles Opie was a graphic artist, and I think who used to be a preacher or something like that. But the guy who made this set used this guy's name as an inside joke. This is a friend of the guy, the set designer or something like that.
I love the fact, so Igor drops the good brain and grabs another, which is labeled abnormal, and says, "Do not use this brain." What were these brains to be used for? Right?
It's a brain depository. You can use them for all kinds of things.
Brain depository.
where the writing on the door is in English conveniently.
Yes.
Also, there's a human head-sized slot to put brains through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the brain deposit? Who's depositing the brains?
Who's doing it after 5 p.m.?
Right.
You want to talk about convenience, Al? That is a convenient thing to have.
Go to the brain depository.
What are they being used?
I love the fact that it's so hilarious, and it clearly is like, well, where's he getting the brain from? I don't know, the brain depository.
The Texas Brain Depository.
Yeah, he doesn't go to a hospital or a morgue. They just cut right to the brain. They're like, we just need brains in jars, man.
Yeah. So that night, Frederick performs his experiment, an attempt to bring life to the body, but it's seemingly a failure. Meanwhile, the townspeople are having a meeting.
Yes, they are. That's a Mel Brooks staple.
Oh, God.
I know it's an old movie staple, but it's got to be in a Mel Brooks movie. I
Absolutely. Love it. They decide to send Inspector Kemp to meet with Frederick.
I'm sorry to interrupt you again. Everything they're saying could have been written yesterday about like anti-vaxxers. They're talking about science, and we don't need no science, and we can, it's just going to kill us.
One of them said, "These scientists, they want to rule the world."
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Fauci just wants to be on the cover of Time magazine. Damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so did Mel with Kemp? the commandant, did Mel Brooks invent RoboCop basically?
All the bits with that arm are hilarious.
It's so distracting in such a classic Mel Brooks way, where you're just watching him playing with his hand the whole time. Like, what is happening?
And unnecessary. He uses his good hand to use his bad hand to knock on the door instead of knocking.
Well, and the arm bits just keep escalating throughout the movie. I mean,
the darts and
oh no! By the time we get to the dart, I love how petty he is with the dart scene. He's cheating at darts. Just
the battering ram. They use him and his arm as a battering ram.
And the cherry on top is that his monocle goes on the eye patch.
Yes.
Yeah. So back at the castle, Frederick is pouting about his experiment's failure when they hear a noise from the lab. I thought you made a yummy sound.
I didn't make a yummy sound.
What is that?
You what it was?
Black Forest cherry cake or something?
So,
I think.
Yeah. Germany.
They head down there to find the creature alive. Frederick frees it from its bonds, and it immediately attacks him, and they do charades. The whole charades bit.
That is beautiful.
It doesn't immediately attack him.
Right.
It responds to commands until Igor decides to light a cigarette.
Yes, because it's afraid of fire.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's the first time we've seen him smoking. Igor.
Right.
Yeah, it's the only time we see him smoking, right?
Yeah. It's like, now's a good time.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. I will always love Gene Wilder's reading of Sedative.
Yeah.
And then the callback is brilliant too. Yes. When it's Marty and the doctor.
The little chat with Igor. No. Sit down.
God, brilliant.
No, up here.
I won't be angry. Yes. And what brain did you get?
Abby someone.
Abby normal.
And then loses it.
Yeah. At that moment, there's a knock at the door. Inspector Kemp's arrived. He questions Frederick about his intentions concerning his grandfather's work. Frederick assures him he's not going to continue his work, and Kemp takes his word for it and leaves.
The darts scene is classic, as we mentioned, cheating at the darts from the inspector, but then also the inspector saying words so pointedly whenever he was about to throw. And the one where he throws it backwards and you hear the shrieking cat.
Yes.
Yeah, that's Mel Brooks.
That's Mel Brooks. Gene Wilder actually, there was a stipulation that Mel couldn't appear in this movie. So there were 3 voice things that Mel Brooks did. And
he was
one
also a townsperson in the mob, though.
Okay.
He played an extra, but he couldn't have a featured role.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, he only threw 2 darts out the window, but there were 6 darts in the wheels of the car.
Yeah. But yeah, it's funny how he kept it. Has everybody seen Basketball?
Yeah.
One of the rules, you could try to psych somebody out, you know?
Yeah.
Just Steve Perry.
And again, with Gene Wilder's reading, nice grouping.
No, I forgot. In the very first scene, if you would, sir, hop off the table. And then he's like, nice hopping.
Nice hopping. In the lab, Frau Blucher frees the creature, revealing that she was the one who led Thank you, Al. Revealing that she was the one who led Frederick to the lab with the violin playing. Yes, he was my boyfriend.
First, he's like, say it.
Say it.
He was. So Andrew told me today, I don't remember this because I was drinking in the theater, but when we went to see Spanglish and Cloris Leachman came on screen for the first time, apparently I yelled that in the theater quite loudly.
He was my boyfriend.
He was my boyfriend.
I mean, Spanglish is a movie that I feel anyone could yell anything out at, and I'd be fine with it.
Yeah, nobody minded.
The creature flees the lab into the night. He meets a little girl who he plays with harmlessly. That whole bit, that was another one of my unanswered questions. How did the townspeople know there was a monster on the loose? Because maybe there was something in one of the cut scenes.
Yeah, they're naturally suspicious.
Yeah, they just assume
as soon as he showed up in town.
Yeah.
They do this every weekend.
But it's a great take on the actual scene from Frankenstein where he encounters the little girl and drowns her.
Yeah. And instead he just plays with her and she ends up back in her bed. Then he happens upon
catapult is hilarious.
Oh my God.
So dumb.
Yeah. Then he happens upon a blind hermit and we get our Gene Hackman cameo.
I'm sorry, real quick, back at that scene. The parents have boarded up the house from the inside, not knowing where their daughter is.
Yeah. Yes.
It's like when Michael Scott had to put those things back in the box and accidentally put his phone in it.
So he has a meal with the blind hermit.
So I have a question. I know why he would have the one candle to light his cigars and light other things, but why does the blind guy have so many candles lit?
That's a good question. Yes. Why is it so well lit?
I'd never thought about it before, but I was like, yeah. Oh.
I saw a tidbit that Gene Hackman wanted to try comedy, and Gene Wilder was like his tennis buddy. So he asked if he could be in this movie, do this scene, and I think he did it for free.
Wow.
Yeah, he was uncredited originally.
Oh, yeah. Also, he was originally uncredited, and he improv'd the espresso line.
Oh my God! Really?
Yeah, he was making a movie with Terry Garr, I guess, at the same time too.
Oh, wow.
That was something that I had read. They were filming together.
Yeah,
Tom Schick used to do the espresso line all the time.
He he absolutely killed it in the scene. Absolutely killed it.
Yeah, but then another thing, just like espresso, you got to get it really hot. It's got to steam. You got to pour it into different things. It's just great to picture that he was making,
a blind
even if
guy.
it was stovetop and not a machine, obviously. But yeah, it's funny.
The creature's then lured into a trap by Frederick playing the violin. He's recaptured. Back at the castle, Frederick tames the creature through kindness. Let me out of here. Let me
Hello,
out of
handsome.
Here. Yeah.
Look at that boyish face.
Just Peter Boyle's reaction's like, me?
This is a nice boy.
Again, Gene Wilder's panic, man.
Oh my God. So good.
This is somehow more panicked than he is in The Producers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let me out of here. Let me out of here. Let me out of here. You stupid son of a bitch.
Open this door. I'll kick your rotten heads in.
So he books a theater.
And they're going to do it, except Frau Blucher seals the door, like blocks the door.
Yeah.
No, this has to be done.
Blucher.
Better.
Yeah. So he books a theater engagement in which he displays the creature's capabilities through song and dance.
To the Bucharest Academy of Science.
Yes,
right.
Yes. It's not just anybody. They've all come dressed up.
They've not only come dressed up, they brought vegetables.
They brought vegetables. Like Danny DeVito says in Batman Returns, who brings cabbage to a speech?
This is my throwing cabbage. One of the most iconic scenes, but Peter Boyle just, oh my God.
Oh my God, yes. Putting on the Reds. It's amazing.
This is something that Mel Brooks didn't think was going to work, which is funny. Yeah. This and the Walk This Way bit were two things that I guess he objected to. And then after watching them in a theater, seeing people, in tears, it's like, oh, well, guess I don't know everything kind of thing.
Yeah.
It was interesting to see him kind of acknowledge that.
Mm-hmm. Because I know there's that voice that he's doing, but it's not that he's deaf. It's that he's learning to speak. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those were the words, like if you got your dog to say, I love you. Or something.
A light explodes, scaring the creature, causing the audience to turn against them. The creature's terrified, and the audience captures him and takes him and puts him in a cell.
So that was a King Kong kind of vibe, too.
Yeah.
Which was cool.
Very much so, yeah. Back at the castle, Frederick and Inga discuss a way to help the creature become smarter, and Inga comes up with a way to help Frederick relax.
I wonder how.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole bit.
Like slippers in a nice book.
If only there was some way I could help you take your mind off it.
I know.
And just Gene Wilder.
Sorry you walked into that one.
If I could just give you some peace.
Yeah, peace.
However, shortly afterwards, Frau Blücher enters the laboratory to inform them that Elizabeth, Frederick's fiancée, is arriving soon. Elizabeth arrives at the castle. I love the bit with her and Igor.
Oh, so good. You take the blonde, I'll take the one in the turban.
Yeah, he does a
He's
Groucho.
doing a Groucho Marx.
Yeah.
Oh, and it might have happened at the performance, but all the cops line up in the back, like in the Blues Brothers.
Oh, yeah.
Where they don't do anything, but they're like, all right, I'll check it out.
While the creature is goaded into violence by a cruel guard and escapes his cell, then Inspector Kemp organizes a mob of villagers to find and kill the creature.
Let's go to the old mill anyway. Get some cider.
Yeah. It was like, a mob is an ugly thing, but I think it's high time. Back at the castle, Frederick worries about the creature while he and Elizabeth reconnect. Frederick's advances on her are rebuffed, and Frederick goes to bed alone.
Give me a kiss. No tongues.
No tongues.
She sings to herself as she readies herself for bed.
She sings the battle hymn of the Republic.
Yeah. That's so like battling Khan, man. She is glorious.
It's just a subtle little, like, she's a wasp.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
That kind of Jewish guy making fun of a wasp.
Yeah.
The no tongues line was improvised.
I'll bet. She's so good.
So the monster hears her singing, enters her bedroom, and kidnaps her. He takes her to a barn where he makes love to her while the mob searches the woods.
I have an appointment at 11:30.
Where are you going? Just like a man, off to brag and boast to your friends down at the bar. Oh, I think I'm in love.
Oh, sweet mystery of life, at last I found you.
Yeah,
oh, you incorrigible little zipper neck. 7 has always been my lucky number.
I was on a walk once, and you know how sometimes people put garbage that's usable out on the curb? There was a bunch of sheet music, like a bunch, and on top of it was Sweet Mystery of Life. And I was like, I found you.
The creature's lured off by violin and horn playing.
And it also points out that she's down to clown, just not with Frederick.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Yeah.
No, he's just not doing it for her.
Yeah.
No.
She needs the monster.
The mash.
This is the first time she saw a Schwanstucker?
Nah, might be.
Was she woofed at?
I get the feeling that she saw plenty of Schwanstuckers back in school, or just
New
not
York,
Frederick's. She 100% is just marrying a nice doctor. That she's the
society type.
Yeah. So he's lured back by the music. They perform a procedure on the creature and Frederick to give some of Frederick
transference.
Yes, to give some
like Superman. You take his powers away in a booth.
Yeah, it's very, very dodgy science, but
they're all wrap it up.
So just as they finish the transference, the mob arrives. They're going to lynch Frederick, who's unconscious still from the procedure. However, the creature speaks intelligibly, telling them to
There were like 5 or 7 seconds left And they were very explicit. Like, it has to be exactly 15 minutes, not a second more, not a second less.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So they were just barely off. Anyway.
Yeah. So,
that's why it wasn't full. Yeah.
Yeah. So he tells the mob that he's intelligent now. Frederick is a good and kind man. The mob is placated and leaves. This is like
a Simpsons
let's go
mob.
to the old mill. Yeah.
And as Americans, isn't that our right? Probably.
Yes. The creature, Inga and Igor, tend to Frederick. We cut to some time later. Frederick and Inga are now married on their wedding night. She
looks like Elsa Lancaster.
Yeah.
From The Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The hairdo.
Madeline Kahn, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I jump ahead? But like she has the hair.
Yeah. Madeline Kahn has the hair. But yeah, Inga and Frederick. Oh. Yeah. And she begins humming the violin tune, and then we cut to the creature and Elizabeth, who looks like Bride of Frankenstein. And she's like, I put a basket in there for your poo-poo undies.
Yeah, your shirts and your socks and poo-poo undies are separate.
Yeah. When she came out of the bathroom and kicked her shoes off and was doing her like...
And the hiss?
And the hiss, right? I was like, wow, Julia Louis-Dreyfus took a lot from Madeline Kahn for Elaine. You don't realize, but the way she kicked the shoes off, the way,
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
Huh. She's kind of clunky.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. A little awkward.
Yeah. But still somehow interesting to watch.
And
attractive.
Yeah, still sexy, but but funny and sexy.
Goofy.
Yeah.
That was Madeline Kahn.
Yeah.
And Julia.
The creature's more interested in his newspaper than his bride now. I assume they're married too. They don't say explicitly. In their wedding bed, Frederick and Inga discover what he got from the monster in their procedure. And Igor plays us out by horn on the ledge of the castle. Roll
she
credits.
makes a German spectacle of herself.
Yeah. Yeah. Damn good movie.
Oh, so good. Every moment.
I wanted to recommend this movie to my 8th graders, but then there's so much sex.
It's a Mel Brooks movie. There's just so much sex in all of them.
Yeah.
But no nudity. No. Just innuendo.
Yeah.
TikTok has worse.
I'm sure.
But there are actually some videos. When I was trying to find this, I put it on YouTube. But there are a couple videos of Zoomers watching it and reacting to it.
That's fun.
I watched a few minutes of one. It was pretty funny.
Jude loved it. I mean, he thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, this younger guy was like, "This is great."
I know. I watched it when I was 4 or 5. And
I watched it all my life.
Oh yeah,
yearly for a while.
Yeah, I was a kid and I watched it a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, again, like I mentioned Tom earlier, we both loved Mel Brooks so much that was a common thing we'd do together. Watch Brooks movies. Yep, good one.
Yeah, dang good.
Thanks, Al. That was your nom, right?
It was.
Yeah.
For Spooktober.
Spooktober, which leads us to next week's Spooktober Spectacular. Next week on Haunted Phosphorescence, we will be watching John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Will that be as much of a laugh riot? Only time will tell.
Yeah, nobody trusts anybody anymore, and we're all so very tired.
We've all got a petri dish filled with blood.
Each of us. Gift bag.
Wilford Brimley will be there.
Yeah. All aliens. I got diabetes.
Yeah, we will all feel very dated by Wilford Brimley's age in this movie.
Yeah.
They're like, he's 29.
It's the right thing to do and the tasty way to do it.
Quaker. He is oatmeal. All right.
That is next week. So thank you everybody for hanging out with us on Haunted Phosphorescence. This has been your host, Throw Smiley. And wait, where are you going? I was going to make espresso.
I'm Josh Cece, and I was turning the roast and braten.
I'm Brian Lesh. Now throw a kiss and say goodbye.
I'm incorrigible little zipperneck, Alaric Weber, saying, "Taffeta, darling."
Tap it.
Zipper neck.
Tap it, darling.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.